Hi, everybody. Welcome to Chats con Sabor. I'm Yvette, and I'm here with my two beautiful co hosts, Linda and Joanna. And today we have a very special guest, our friend Cristian. Yay!
Welcome.
Welcome. So, Cristian, we ask this of all of our guests to just say a little something about yourself, introduce yourself, and just give us a little bit about your background.
Okay. Hi, I'm Cristian. I am the son of Joanna. Shit, what do I say about myself?
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
How old you are, where you're from.
Okay.
Yeah, anything.
30. I'm 30 years old. I'm from New Jersey. I've got a son. He's 5.
Okay.
Nice.
It's the center of my life.
We know him. He's so
Yeah.
cute. Adorable.
He's the cutest kid.
He is. He's so adorable. Okay, so what we're doing today is, since we have Cristian here, we want to pick his brain about a lot of things. But first of all, this episode we're recording a couple of days after our big event. So just say a little something about the event. Like, what was the highlight of the night for you?
Man, I think seeing the amount of people that showed up to support us, I get really tense on social events, but everybody was so excited for us, and they were showing up to the place and then hugging us, and then let me take a picture with you, let me do this, and it was just so much love.
Yes.
I think for me that was like, it felt like warming, heartwarming.
Definitely. Joe?
I agree. I feel like just the support was overwhelming. Having new followers, talking to everybody, talking to our followers and all that. I think that was it just put me like over the moon.
Yeah.
And people so curious too, looking at our board or QR code, scanning it. It was awesome.
Yeah. What I loved was, of course, all the love and support, the outpouring of support and love. But also, our friends were going around the whole bar area, really promoting us and helping out, telling people about the podcast and stuff. So I thought that was really special.
Mm-hmm.
Our friend Cristian here was there as well. So tell us, what was your highlight of the night?
My highlight of the night was just being fed drinks. No, I did get to meet a lot of new people. People that I've never met before, people that are new to them as well. But also, I think the biggest thing of the night was just seeing how much love people had for you guys.
Yeah.
It was definitely good to see.
It was so awesome. Yeah, I love that. I love
But
that.
I'll give it to him. The drinks, the outpouring of drinks, it was intense. I felt like every time I turned around,
there was a shot in your face.
Yeah.
I mean, we did have some specials going on for our event, and
yes,
the shots were delicious.
Yes, they were.
Dangerous.
Yes. I want to kind of shout out our two favorite bartenders there, Kevin and Kenya. They did amazing. They took care of us. Thank you. And of course, Ali and Hyder, like everybody there, Z, our friends, like, thank you so much. We had an amazing, amazing time. Okay, let's jump right into it. So, Cristian, what do men really need from women? And do they have a perfect woman list? We've talked about on previous episodes that women have a perfect man list. Like, we have those check boxes that men need to fall into. So do men actually have a list of, like, a mental list or a written one?
I think it depends. I mean, men, I know I do. I feel like it kind of depends on the way that you were raised. Also kind of where you are in life, mentality wise, how independent you've actually lived, or how much independence you've had on your own in your life, as far as your expectations from women go. Being raised by a single mother and stuff, like watching her do everything, and she was very independent, self-sufficient. So that kind of set up my expectations for women, and that it's kind of stifling, in this day and age, because you don't exactly have that. So having a strong woman by your side that works, that does everything, that's what I want as far as, like, strength in a woman, like just that independence. Because, living on my own and doing that stuff, I do the same exact thing. I cook, I clean, take care of a 5-year-old, keep him alive. I do, laundry.
That's a hard job.
But doing everything on my own, and I've been doing it for a while. I look for that in a woman, but on the plane of like reciprocation. So if we could cook together, if we could clean together, if we can fold laundry together, if we can just do everything together. But if I can't get to something because I'm doing something else, that they could kind of pick up that. And then if they're busy or if they go out with their girls or something like that, then I can pick it up. And it's not a competition. It's more of just a partnership. So those are like my boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like depending on where a man is in life, he will have those boxes. How many boxes depends on, his independence in life and where he is at mentally, because mental and emotional stability play a huge role in that.
Oh yeah.
Security plays a huge role in that. So yeah, I do believe that every man has a checkbox, and just depends systemically, like how they were raised is kind of what they want. So
yeah.
Whatever like self-growth they have for themselves or have had themselves will like change those boxes, I guess.
Yeah. So piggybacking off of what you just said, though, like in the case of your mom being a single mom for a little bit before, you met your husband, you told that story before. Do you feel like that it makes a woman stronger, especially women your age? Does it make a woman stronger in that sense, having that type of role model in her life? And is it reflected, in the relationship? Have you seen that? Have you experienced it?
It definitely does. But more times than not, in any relationship that I've had where it is, they are a single mother, they are very apprehensive toward allowing a person to help because they have been doing things for so long. Mm-hmm. On their own. So when I come in, I guess, and I want to, like, they're trying to cook dinner or whatever it is, then I'll be like cleaning up after the kids or like, doing the other things. And they just tell me to sit down and relax. That is 100% every single time. The response that I get or the comments that I'll get, like, hey, just sit down, I'll take care of it. Like, well, I would be doing this if I was at home with my son, regardless. It's 6:00. I'd be cooking. So like you're cooking, then I can do something that I would still be doing on my own. So that's how I've definitely seen it, but in the apprehensive, always apprehensive side. They just don't.
What's apprehensive? Sorry, Sorry.
No.
What's apprehensive? Like, what do you mean by that? Because I'm following your train of thought, but every time you say that word, I'm like, you lost me. Like they're hesitant, like they're sorry, I'm trying to.
Yeah, like hesitant, or they're very like safeguarded in a way.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say like not wanting to let him do for them because they're so used to being so independent, and there is such a thing as hyper independency.
Right. No, of course. I can put myself in that situation as well, where I've felt that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they just since they have been on their own, they just do for themselves. And then when I come into the picture, I'm just like, hey, can I help anywhere? Can I do anything? Can I wash the dishes? Do you have laundry? Can I fold it? Like, is there anything I can help with? And they've always just told me like sit and relax. Well, I can't sit and relax. I can't, because I just do it on my own anyways.
Yeah. Did you have that kind of like having to get used to having like?
I still am
your
trying to get
significant
used to
other,
that right now, because even when I was together with somebody, they were not really helping me. So I was doing it all then, and then when I was single and I still live on my own. I'm doing everything by myself.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I don't mind it. I just don't know how to receive it. I'll be honest with you. But he's learned that if he just he doesn't ask anymore.
He just does.
He just does it.
Yeah.
And then I'll look and I'll be like, and he's like, I'm helping you, and you said that I could help you. Like that you didn't know you didn't know how to tell me or what to tell me. I'm helping you, and I'm like, okay. And I turn around and keep on cooking, and I'm like, oh, it feels wrong, but because I don't know what it's like to be helped.
Yeah.
That's typically what I go through, or what I've gone through, I guess, is like if they're cooking, it's like, hey, can I help with anything? No, sit down, relax. I see the vacuum, I pick it up, I start vacuuming. I'm like, okay, there's stuff can I fold the blanket? Like I'll start folding blankets. I'll just start doing stuff. And that's just me.
Now you did say that it's hard, that it's been hard for you to find, because I guess like you were saying, like in your mind, you have an expectation of what you've seen your mom being. So you want that same strength, right? That same, I guess, attitude towards life where I'm going to brace it in and I'm going to take it. Like, I don't know what life is going to throw at me, but I'm going to do it, right? So that's kind of what you're looking for in a girl. Why is that attractive to you? Or what is it that you're looking to get out of that?
Just a lifelong partner. So if they do everything on their own for themselves, and I do everything on my own for myself, when we come together, we're just doing for us, for our family, for our kids, for, setting up a future of comfort for ourselves. And honestly, like, I guess in layman's terms, so if the time that I want to spend with you is, I want to spend a lot of time with you, you want to spend a lot of time with me. If it's 6 o'clock, there's dinner, there's, laundry, there's everything to be done in the house. If we can work together to get that done as quickly as possible, we can have more time with each other. If I'm sitting there on the couch relaxing and you've still got dinner, you've got to clean, you've got laundry, you've got all this stuff, and I'm just sitting there, I feel like I'm wasting my time. You know what I mean? Like, I want time with you. So wherever I can help, it's still time spent together. So if we can do everything together, that's more time that we can spend together.
Yeah. Joe, did you feel like you had to kind of get used to that after like your husband passed and then meeting your current partner?
Well, so they are polar opposites. We've talked about this a million times, I feel like, on our podcast. I was raised very old school. So I was very traditional in taking care of the family. Not only did I work, but when I got home, I cooked dinner. I made sure the house was picked up. I made sure the kids were fed. I made sure everything was set for them. So I did a lot of stuff on my own. Like he would do more of the boy stuff and take them to their sports events or be at their sports events and stuff like that. I did the household stuff. He would do the outdoor stuff or the stuff with the kids. Yeah. So I've always been super independent though, since I was a young girl, because I was always taking care of somebody. I was taking care of my brother, my sister, the household while my parents worked. So that's just how I was raised. Now with my partner now, he's very involved. So he wants to help wherever he can. You take care of the inside, I'll take care of the outside. I'll change the oil in the car, I'll change the oil in the bike, I'll take care of the dogs for you. Don't worry. Like it's a partnership and it's something that I've never had. So to like let go of the reins a little bit was actually awesome. And then when he was gone for 6 months, I was back into, I have to do everything by myself again. Yeah. So having him around is so amazing. And when that was gone for, 6 months, I was like, I wish Kevin was home. I wish because then I was responsible for everything, Yeah. So I get it. Him and I have had conversations. He's like, you're like the way you are is kind of what I'm looking for. Just the strength, but at the same time, the feminine, not so masculine all the time, because I was very much in my masculine when I was in my marriage. And so I get his qualms a little bit about that stuff, but he's, he wants what he wants, and that's good for me. Yeah. If that's the kind of woman he wants, I tell him all the time, I was like, she can be strong, but make sure that she's there to help too. Yeah. Because I think a lot of women his age nowadays, minus Linda, and I can honestly say that because I've seen this woman with her children. I've seen her working, going crazy. We've talked about it. It's very few women that you can find nowadays in that age group that do not want to be taken care of.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I think that's in speaking to other friends of ours, male friends, that's the problem that they're finding right now in the dating world is that younger women your age or a little bit younger, even a little bit older, even up to like 40 years old, they want to be kept. And that's all they're looking for, because that's what social media is feeding them.
I was going to say
That's
that
exactly
right
what they're
now.
feeding them.
I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like it's come down now, but
Yeah.
I feel like we went through maybe even a 3-year push where it was, what's your sugar? What's the sugar? Like, what's your sugar daddy? Why? Because they just want the money, they want to be taken care of, and they want the fun.
And what are they bringing to the table?
Exactly.
Your looks, that's going to fade. You're going to get older. You don't go the opposite. There's no Benjamin Button here, right?
Yeah.
Like your looks are going to fade. What are you bringing to the table, to the relationship? Support, long-term support in the relationship for your man, for your children, for the family, the blended families. If each of you have kids, like, I mean, there's a lot that goes into actually being a woman in a relationship.
Right.
And I feel like these young girls are being spoon-fed this bullshit on social media.
Not just that, but they're not being parents. I also feel like as a society, we have failed. Like, being single parents, there's no support for single parents. So, like myself in Miami, I didn't have family. I had my situations and all of this stuff. And when I wanted to, like, okay, I need a breather. I wish I had family to take care of my son. So then I can get a second job so I can figure out being independent. It's non-existent. The system is broken, right? So what happens? You have families going to work, families going to having 2 jobs, or you have the rich families that just want to have fun and go to the many trips, and the kids are home alone with money,
or the nannies,
with the nannies, right? So unfortunately, we are not raising our kids. That's there is a good percentage of people that are doing what they're supposed to, but I feel like the general consensus is like we're not really raising property that we used to be men and women and assume your role and love who you are and love the things that you get to do because of who you are,
right?
So
yeah, very true. You said something earlier, like you kind of reverted back to being more like independent and a little bit more in your masculine while your significant other was away. I kind of went through the same thing in my marriage. I was married for a long time, and he was in the military. He was a Marine. So he was gone a lot. And I always had to, step up and be, I don't want to say the mom and the dad, because I never saw myself in that way. I wasn't their dad, and they have a father, but I was the disciplinarian. I never got to be just the cool mom, like, hey, let me take you out and have fun. I mean, I tried, but I was also their taxi. I was also their their tutor. I was everything to them, because he was gone so much. And nothing against him. It was just that was his career, and actually that allowed me to stay home many, many years with my children. I stayed home when my youngest was born. I stayed home for like 7 years. So they had me fully there. And my ex-husband provided that luxury for our family that I didn't have to work. Obviously, eventually I went back to work because my youngest started school. Got to get back to my career. So anyway, but I understand what you're saying is all I'm saying.
I did. Yeah. So when you say that you don't find this type of women out there, are we talking about that you're finding girls that don't necessarily want to be a mom? For example, they just want to be taken care of and, get their bills paid, or are you finding women that they think they want something, but what their actions are showing that something else? What is it that you're running into out there?
Actually, three. So both of those, I've ran into both of those. But then the third thing would be like women that can be independent, especially through like words and actions. But then you'll have like those. So little story time. I went.
Story time.
We love it.
We love story time.
So I went on a trip with someone, and great conversation, great everything. She was independent, but let's see. So we went to like this hill thing that you could.
Oh, I know this story.
We went to Chattanooga. We went down this place called Cardboard Hill, and she was like very hesitant towards riding a piece of cardboard down this hill. I wasn't hesitant. I got the first piece of cardboard that I could find, and I went down the hill. I rolled 7 times. It was awesome. It was awesome.
And this is why he was always in trouble.
Yeah. So her, it was everything was great, and then she's like, "Hey, do you think I should do it?" And I'm like, "That's entirely up to you. You don't have to if you don't want to." And she's like, "I'm going to try it." And I'm like, "Okay, sure, hell yeah." And she got the piece of cardboard. She went up the hill. She went down. She broke her ankle.
Ouch.
Was not great.
Oh my god.
Was not great.
Did she blame you?
No. Actually, what had happened was
What had happened was
she started freaking out. She had a self-induced panic attack going down the hill, and so instead of like just kind of stopping, she put her foot out. And that's how she ended up breaking it. But she started having like a panic attack going down the hill, freaking out and stuff like that. Came to a stop, broke her ankle, started freaking out, and then started saying that she needed her anxiety medication,
antidepressants,
and she needed to take her medicine. She had another self-induced panic attack due to that. So I picked her up off the ground. I walked to the car. I put her in the passenger seat. We went to CVS to get like bandages and like a pack of peas and stuff like that to cool her ankle down. But then the remainder of the night through the next day was anxiety, panic attacks, and that sort of thing. Well, it turned out to not be a break. It was a sprain. Still bad. Not trying to belittle it by any means. But we talked a lot about that, the panic attacks, the medication. She took like 4 or 5. So this was also met through a dating site. I feel like the first thing that you should probably ask someone is, hey, how many medications are you on?
Oh my god!
And like, what are your coping mechanisms with life?
Yeah.
How do you get through, either trauma responses, or how do you get through, your day to day? So if you're, just a strong woman, independent woman, if someone comes up to you and says, hey, they just shit on your parade, how do you deal with that? Do you go to the medicine cabinet, or do you just take it on the chin? Do you how exactly do you cope with those things? But hers, we had quite a few conversations after that, and we talked about her medications, and then I asked what her coping mechanisms were outside of those, and she just said she was dependent on those. She was very honest, but she didn't see herself getting off the medication, and that was the hardest part probably about it. Not to be judgmental or anything, but that was it. She did also have a child, and she was just very like helicopter parent. Very don't do that, don't do these things, stay safe, bubble wrap type of thing. And she would feed herself the medication, and just like that's how she just lived her life. And I didn't really like that. It's just different parenting styles, different everything. So that was the third thing.
Independent, but depending on medication.
Yes. So not exactly the independence that I was looking for. Black and white, conversation, very independent, but then through, behind the curtains, in the closet type of shit. It was just medication. So didn't like that too much. But yeah, so I've seen the first 2, and then obviously added the 5 minutes of the third story. But so a lot of it's 50-50 with the first 2. The first, as far as the financial stuff, there are people that I've talked to that live with their parents still, or something like that. They're not exactly on their own, but claim to be independent, but then just want you to take care of them. Mainly financial obligations, so that way they can just kind of do whatever. And then the second thing was I definitely have met people that are independent, that do want like that. What was it like? They want that partnership type thing. But it just turned out to be like our communication style. How do we deal with things? Being closed off, but being independent is not very healthy.
Oh,
no, not at all.
So just kind of like closing off the peripherals and just keeping, on task and what you have to do on your day to day because you have to is not very healthy. I don't know if that answered any.
Yeah, that was great. That was perfect.
That was wonderful. Okay, so we're gonna switch it up a little bit here because we're talking about the emotional connection and everything that you're looking for on the inside. I'm going to ask, do men or do you prefer women who have because obviously ladies, it works out a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Do men prefer...
He's hiding the armpits behind you guys.
Women that have hard bodies versus soft bodies?
It does not matter. I'm not specific. I feel like it's more of how you communicate physically. You know, how you show it does not matter. There's no preference. Normally, in my experience, women that are more fit, I don't want to say hard bodies, but that take care of themselves more, have a higher sex drive, have more, they initiate more. Yeah. Because they just,
maybe they're a little bit more
little healthier. Yeah. Healthier and more confident.
Well, it's also the hormonal stuff, because when I start going to the gym more, then all of a sudden it's like, you know,
How
happy endorphins, baby.
Exactly.
But then it's also the depiction of themselves too.
True.
Yeah.
So they feel better with themselves.
That's why I said the confidence. I don't think it has a lot. I mean, that does. Obviously, you feel better. If you're working out, you're moving your body, you're going to feel better because it releases endorphins and all that stuff, right? But at the same time, if you're a little on the fluffier side, or you're not a gym addict or whatever, and you're confident in who you are, then you're going to present yourself that way anyway. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because I that's what I think anyway. I think it has more to do with a woman's confidence level than anything. And if they feel like, if they look good on the outside, then that's probably because they feel really good on the inside. But also, and you correct me if I'm wrong, please, I have met women and known women who, first of all, full face of makeup on at the gym. So you're not there really to work out, right? Like you're there for something else. Those types of things where they're in their heads about a lot of things, but they're not like mentally secure, mentally stable, because they use the gym as an outlet for other things, you know? So I think there's a little bit of that. Actually, I knew a lot of women like that. So that's why I say I feel like it's more about the confidence. These women that are going to the gym and they're working out and they feel good about their bodies, they feel good about themselves. Of course, their confidence level is going to be up. So they're going to initiate. They're going to, you know, feel good and sexy, you know.
Pursue.
But it also depends on the man, how the man's making her feel too.
Yes.
If he's making her feel like, well, maybe you should work out a little bit. You're chiseling down that confidence. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you're constantly tugging at her fucking lonjas or whatever, you know what I mean? Even if you think that it's a playful way, but for her, it's like chipping away at her psyche, you know, and it's chipping away at that confidence level where she's not going to feel good about herself. Mm-hmm. And then she doesn't want to get naked in front of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying. It does play a lot into, I guess, that like words of affirmation, right?
Yeah.
So how you make them feel is how they're going to feel. Confidence is very, very sexy. I prefer like the natural beauty. So I prefer the no makeup, you know, just kind of raw dog in life. Just raw dog in life. Just feel good in your skin. And I don't want to say you're going to get it, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Feel good, feel sexy. And
yeah.
Just put it on them.
Yeah. So funny. Joe, you want to add anything to that?
No.
But no, I don't have a preference whether it's hard bodies or soft bodies.
He's always dated like the girl next door. That's been his type since he was young. So when he says that, he means it. It's not like any bullshit story. That's how he's been since he started dating. Very girl next door.
That's awesome. I mean, I think that kind of probably speaks more to the fact that you're looking at what's on the inside versus like, you know, physically. Obviously you need to be attracted to a woman, right? But you're also looking past that, and you know, you're looking at more how she carries herself and what.
Yeah, because like you said earlier, that's what you grow with.
Yeah, like
the physical, like if you're a hard body, whatever. If you're fit, that shit's gonna die off.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Especially the way that I eat too. I'll make somebody thick real fast. But...
Oh my goodness!
I love that. That's funny.
Yeah.
I'll make somebody thick real fast. Hey, what's that, Izzy?
So you mentioned that one girl you met was through a dating app. So we have shared in the previous episodes that, you know, at the end of the day, when you're on a dating app, the first thing you see is a physical aspect,
right?
Yeah. So in that sense, how can you really see the girl as the girl next door? How can you actually find that connection You know, like, let's be honest. So if you're swiping, what are you looking at? Is my question. What's the, you know?
Yeah. So what I'm looking for, or what I was looking for,
At the moment.
yeah,
At the time. Because now we know that they all suck.
yeah,
Don't
they're
recommend it.
they're not very good because there's a lot of, well, okay, so the profile, I guess how their profile would be like, whether they're funny, goofy, that sort of thing, their humor. I look for those like
Did
specific
the bio
things.
matter?
The bio did matter, because how your bio plays out, or how like the prompts play out, would play in my mind how we could like chat, how we could yap, and that sort of thing. Like if I can talk to myself for fucking days. That's why, like, I'm good by myself, but then I also just want to love somebody. So it's kind of like sucks. But like I talk forever. So like if your bio just has like some stupid stuff, and then like we connect, and then we just keep yapping, like that's cool. I really appreciate that. The worst thing that I found through dating apps is people would say, I want a man who can hold a conversation. I've got ADHD. I can hold 20 conversations. I'm just like,
That's my child.
Sorry about it, but like, I'm very good at holding conversations. But when theirs are like very succinct, like I want a man who can hold a conversation. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about your childhood. Let's talk about trauma. Let's trauma bond, whatever. They're very not open to talking about things. And I get it. Like it's early, but then there's also other conversations that I'll have, like, you know, not surface level, but they're not very, they're very succinct, or like very short conversations. Like they're not very into it type of thing. Or they just don't know how to talk. So like, why do you want someone who knows how to talk? We're not going to talk for you. So everything, like dating apps, very surface levels, very few times that we actually got, you know, into anything more meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't really matter what you would look at. You would just go to the bio and see if you guys could connect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because whether you're hot or not, like if you can't have a conversation,
Yeah. What's the point?
What's the point? Yeah. Just staring at each other. Well, you're pretty hot. Well, you're pretty hot too. Okay, well, that's nice. Want to have sex? Okay. That's about it. Okay, bye. When you were saying that about holding a conversation, I always used to put on my bio that I needed somebody who was good at communicating. Now, holding a conversation is one thing. Like you said, you have 20 at the same time. But actually knowing how to communicate your wants and needs and desires and fears, and really opening up. So that's more about, like you said, women are saying they want somebody who can hold a conversation. Well, okay, but what are we talking about? You know what I mean? We could be talking about cars. We could be talking about whatever. Those are conversations. Can you communicate well? Do you know yourself well enough to be able to tell me when this doesn't feel right, or this feels really right, you know, and not be afraid to wear your heart on your sleeve and actually just tell me what you're feeling? Because men have feelings too, right? I mean, am I wrong about this?
Depends how available, but yeah.
Tell me if I'm wrong. Yeah, obviously. Yeah. I mean, an emotionally unavailable man, like, yeah, I'm sorry. And I can see that a mile away. I'm like, nah, I'm good. But anyway, yeah, I totally get what you're saying. So moving on to the next question. What's more important to a man, that his woman is happy or that she contributes financially to the household, to the relationship?
I don't think finances have never been. I would go more with the happy. But so again, like the saying, like a happy wife, happy life type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really agree with that, because like, I don't know, it should be like a happy couple type of thing. Like if I just do things that make you happy, are my needs getting met type of thing.
Yeah.
So I'd still go with the happiness, not so much the finances. Because as long as like you can live in a shack with somebody, but if you love them, like that's going to be a happy shack. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Happy
The
shack.
love shack.
The love shack.
I'm going to insert a little. The love.
The love shack.
Sorry,
The
I'm old.
love shack.
15 miles to the love shack, yeah, yeah. I'm heading down the Atlanta highway, looking for the love getaway.
Okay, so my next question is, Do you think chivalry is dead from the male's perspective? A lot of women feel like it is, like, especially guys your age and your generation, like your guys' generation.
Thinking about the amount of people that I've talked to on dating apps, I do believe it's dead from what they've told me. Sorry about it. But it's very hard. Like, and I don't want to say that like every woman that I've talked to on a dating app just shit talks, because I ask like, hey, you're here. What? Not so much why are you here, but like why are you on a dating app or anything? But like, what have been your experiences? And normally they're not the greatest experiences that they've been through, and like that kind of stuff. Whether they're being honest or not, I do feel like it's very rare.
Okay.
So,
Joe, do you think chivalry is dead?
No, because I have one that is chivalrous.
He really is. He treats all of us so kindly.
Yes,
I love
yes,
it.
he does.
I love it.
But
again,
I
that's
guess-
one. That's one.
that's
so.
one.
No, I
Just
mean, I've actually
It's
been-
out there, but it's rare.
Mm-hmm.
I think like our age group, it's more in tune with guys that are older, like around our age.
Yeah.
I think the newer generation is harder. Like there's like Linda's partner, my partner, they open the door for us. They make sure that what do you need, so I think it's all in the way you're raised too.
Yeah.
And what you saw that your father did, that you saw what other men did in your lives. So I really think that it just depends on how that person was raised and who their examples were,
Yeah. Yeah.
Do
Definitely.
you have male friendships that you talk these things with?
Very few, but yeah, I do have two people that I do go back and forth with. One is gay, and the other one's straight. I get more information from the gay guy than
Probably.
anything,
Yeah.
so it's great. I mean, 'cause they'll just tell me what it is. But yeah, I think chivalry in
a tough word, isn't
our age, yeah, it is. But with the way depiction of the depiction of a woman and everything, especially through social media, like even mannequins have gotten slimmer. Everything has been tapered. You have all the cosmetics. You have all these things. Depictions or perception of how a woman should be has definitely added a lot to that, which sucks.
And the other reason why I was asking, because I mean, they know me, I call things out all the time. So I was wondering if, as guy friends, you guys call each other out on like, damn, bro, you're not treating your girl right, like, or whatever. Does that ever happen?
I only have two male friends
Yeah.
because for that reason. Not that I just call them out on their stuff, but if they do want to vent to me, I am open. I am open to it. I go by the, like a bro code as far as like, shut the fuck up and color. If you just want to talk to me, you just want me to listen, I will listen to you. If you want advice, I'll give you advice. I've had male friends that only see from their perspective and try to justify their actions based off of things, but you asked me for an unbiased opinion.
Right.
I have had male friends that, like physically, that ended up physically abusing people. So I've slimmed down on the male side. Yeah, it's very hard for another man to talk to, because then they have their insecurities as well, right? That you're playing into. It's very.
So would it be fair to say that previous generations kept themselves to a higher standard, or even as friends, they called each other out. I guess men didn't care to know when they were not being men, and they took pride on being the man. And nowadays they don't.
Yeah. So okay. So
And again, there's no wrong answer. It's just a matter of opinion based on your.
Yeah, so I've got more than two male friends. I've got friends that I'll go to Topgolf with, and I have friends that I'll just like hang out at the house with. Those friends that I'll hang out at the house with are friends that we can give each other constructive criticism. As far as like the majority of the men that I know, even through the gym too, they're not emotionally ready, but seeing them in their relationships, especially when we go to the gym, it's like they are man, and that's it. I can't speak for their takeaway when they go home, but it definitely seems like, a lot of men that I've been friends with or talked to do that. Like they're just the man, right?
Mhm.
They're not willing to sit there and like, have like a sincere, like emotional conversation, open up to you about their deepest, darkest secrets type of thing. Not that I care to know, but like if you want to talk to me about, you and your girlfriend and you guys are going through issues and something that you did, that's happened very, very, very rare. It's always like what they do, or even like Thursday, one of my friends at the gym, I guess, yeah, friend, he told me about something that his girl is claiming, or something about him like cheating.
Mhm.
And he's like, his explanation to me was, if I were to cheat on her, I would have been smarter about it. And that's what I told her. Like, and I said, that's what you said. He said, yeah, I told her that if I was to do this,
Oh
this
my
is how I would have
God.
done it. And
Oh,
you shouldn't
yeah.
believe the fact that you shouldn't believe anything that you're thinking of as far as me cheating, because if I would have done it, you wouldn't know. Like, that's not
a good answer.
a good answer, man.
Jeez.
And then he was just like, I mean, it's whatever though. I'm like, okay, so like you don't want to, like, you're not open to constructive criticism about that. One, you're going to tell me how smart you are, but then
You're
Yeah.
gonna
Tell
say
me that.
something that's
Yeah.
stupid.
yeah,
For real.
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, I don't even know where we're at.
Welcome to
Yeah.
our world.
Yeah, but that happened on
always-
Thursday. That was crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah. I don't know. I think sometimes men, maybe in his mind, and I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Maybe in his mind, he thought that was a really good rebuttal to the
Mhm.
accusation, right? Because he was like trying to maybe, what's the word I'm looking for? Like convince her, but there's a different word I'm looking for. Because 50, right? He was trying reassure her. He was trying to reassure her by saying, "No, I would have done X, Y, Z. I didn't do that, so I didn't cheat." Like,
Yeah.
in his mind,
Mhm.
so what he was trying to do, maybe like I said, just provide her that reassurance that no, I didn't cheat or whatever. I don't know.
Just
yeah, that
wrong
was-
choice words.
Yeah.
Very wrong.
Wrong choice of words.
Very wrong. Very, very
Poor
wrong.
guy.
Yeah,
But you mentioned something about giving advice, like, your friends come to you. So we're going to take this moment to insert a little slice of advice.
Yes, let's do that. Today's slice of advice is to listen to your triggers, because your triggers are your internal compass of areas that are unhealed or things that are unresolved. So, because if those situations or those items were actually healed, then it wouldn't dysregulate you the way that it is,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So, embrace your triggers, not because of the pain, but because they are pointing you towards your healing journey. So, listen to those triggers and dig in. Do the
Mhm.
work. Don't swipe it under the rug so you can heal.
That's a good one. I like it. I can actually attest to this because, as you all know, and I don't know if you know this or if you've gotten that far into the podcast, but I took 7 years off of dating, off of men, no sex, no nothing. Like, I just took 7 years to get to know myself. And I still get triggered. There's still situations, but I always have to stop myself and be like, okay, why is this like affecting me still? Like, I thought I let that go. I feel like people misinterpret the healing process as to like, oh, well, I'm healed. I already went through all this and I thought about it and I sat on it and I prayed about it and whatever.
Mm-mm.
Healing is a process. There's no destination. It's not a journey that you're on. It's a process. It's an everyday process. You have to choose to do better and make better decisions. Just because you're quote unquote healed or you're healing doesn't mean that those situations aren't going to arise again. It's how you react to those situations, And if you are being triggered still, then there are, like you said,
Mhm.
deeper rooted issues still
Mhm.
that you still need to work through and work past. But that doesn't mean that the same things are not going to piss you off 10 years from now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's still going to affect you in some kind of way.
I think for me, the best way to kind of point out if my healing process is getting better is, am I trying to fight or am I trying to flight? Like, if those are my reactions, whether, again, I'm trying to fight back, then I'm like, oh, I'm not healed. Or if I'm trying to run away because I don't want to deal with the situation, then again, I'm not healed. So if those are my response mechanisms, then I know I'm like, okay, well, I gotta look into a little more what's happening there. Why is this situation bothering me? So then I can put some work into action and get better.
Right. Has that happened to you, Joe?
Yeah, I think healing, I've told you guys many times, I've been in therapy for a long while. So learning just to process everything and making sure that some of those areas are truly healed, because it can take you 100 years to heal. It can take you 100 years to be a totally healthy person, you know, and people have to give themselves grace.
Right.
You know, you're going to fail and you're going to get up and you're going to keep going. You know, you might fail again, but give yourself grace. I mean, change is difficult. Not everyone wants to change. A lot of people live by the line, I am who I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but who are you? Can you tell me who you are? Because I can tell you who I am.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
do you really know who you are?
Exactly.
Are you a dick because you're a dick? You know, so I think work on those triggers, like Linda said. I mean, really get to know yourself and know how to bring yourself down. I've had situations where things have triggered me and I like freeze and I start to think, where did that come from? And I've had conversations with my therapist about that. And then I figure it out. It's like, okay, so now I know what I need to do when this situation happens again.
Right.
Yeah.
And how to kind of change your mindset about it when it happens again.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I mean, when you can master your emotions like that, I feel like, wow, like you're on another level at that point when you can master your reactions and your emotions to things and not act out of just pure emotion, you know, because we are emotional beings. So that's going to happen.
Yes.
Things are going to piss you off. Things are going to scare you. That's just life, you know, but it's how we react to them.
And I love how you say give yourself grace, because I've seen myself in situations where I'm like, damn, I can't believe that pisses me off so much. And I'm like telling myself like, ah. And it's like, no. It's all right.
Yeah. You're allowed. You're allowed to have those
let me
emotions.
go back
Yeah.
and, you know.
Yeah. Those are valid feelings, valid emotions. Yeah. Have you gone through anything like that?
Yeah, I was actually about to ask you guys a question too.
Yeah.
So, when you brought up triggers, right? How do you work on that with the partner? I feel as though, personally, when you do have a trigger, especially if you're in a relationship, you communicate that with your partner and try to grow through that. So you took 7 years off, but as soon as you jump back into, you know, the dating world, you were then triggered of something in your past. Do you think it would have been more of a healing journey instead of by yourself? And I believe in therapy as well, but going through those triggers or responses with a person that's from your past to work on healing. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. It does. And I can tell you that because I took those 7 years off. I took them off. I took a break. I took a vacation.
That's a long time.
I call it my 7 years
That's a lot of
sabbatical.
toys.
No, it was. I did go through.
That's a lot of toys. I'm sorry. That's a lot of batteries. I'm sorry.
No batteries.
Rechargeable.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like,
No,
you
hold
think
on.
the battery dies at some point.
Hold on. I have one that uses battery. But I also have one that you
It's more
charge.
powerful.
Plug that fucker into the wall.
Exactly. Plug it in the wall. Vámonos.
If it ain't the size of this microphone. Okay, I'm sorry.
Ay.
My bad.
I
But,
think I got like 10 degrees off. Oh my god. Okay, so I forgot what I was gonna say.
so taking 7 years off, working on your triggers.
Yeah.
Did you work on those with somebody? Do you find it easier to work on with, or do you guys communicate those triggers to your partners? So when it does happen, it's like they also know how to not respond, if that makes sense.
In my particular case, I like to journal. So I always like to write down and like figure out where my triggers are coming from, right? Number one, figure out why, right? Like, okay, whether it was my childhood, whether it was my previous relationship, okay, well, I felt, for example, one of my biggest one is rejection, okay? I went through a lot of rejection growing up, a lot of rejection in my previous relationship. So that's probably one that, even though I know I've worked not a long time, but I'm aware that I have to work on it on a regular basis because it has wounded me for so many years. When that gets triggered in me, before I go to my partner, I go to my journal and I'm trying to figure out why is it still bothering me. Once I figure out my me problem, then I can say to my partner, hey, by the way, I'm sorry that I reacted this way. The thing is that it triggered this part of me from my childhood or but at the end of the day, I always say that's not your job. It's not your job to try to heal me or to try to protect me of my trigger. Now, if he chooses to be cognizant about my situation and be and he always tries to be aware of what that is, but I think it's important to understand and know that it's not the partner's responsibility to do that for you. As a person, you do that for you and you heal for you. Of course, you got to communicate, hey, this happened, this bothered me, but be grown enough to say, but you didn't do anything wrong. It's on me. It's on me because of my past. Now, if they did do something wrong, I could say, hey, listen, you did this, that upsetted me. And it actually upsetted me more than usual because you also triggered this. So let's try not to do this or whatever. But I also have to understand that what they did was this small, and the reaction that they got out of me became this big. It was because of my past, my problems. Right. So I have to admit that if I didn't have those triggers, that could have probably been a spicy conversation, but that's it. It wouldn't have been a fight. It wouldn't have been a whatever. You follow what I'm saying?
But a healthy discussion.
A healthy discussion, exactly. But at the end of the day, can you work that with a person? Yes, but because you're working in your relationship, but not because you're expecting them to help you heal, if that makes any sense.
I like that, Linda. I think from my experiences, being healthy and knowing what's right from wrong and knowing that whatever, like Linda said, whatever happened has nothing to do with the other person.
Right.
So being aware of that is important. Like I got to the point that I was just like, it's your problem, not mine. So when you're ready to talk about it, come and talk to me about it. But right now, I'm not giving you what you want. I'm not giving you that fight.
Reaction.
I'm not giving you the reaction that you get from everybody else. It's not happening. This is something you need to work on. When you're ready to talk about it, or you worked on it and you want to talk about it, you come and we'll have that conversation. Right. But I'm not taking somebody else's issues, insecurities, and all that on myself because I've done a lot of work to heal myself. And somebody else's reactions and Kevin can tell you this because that's how I am. What I've worked so hard to have my peace. I've worked so hard to let things go and let him do his thing and let Sean do his thing and not be involved. Yeah. Unless they come to me, it's the only time I get involved. Otherwise, it's not my thing. Yeah. Yeah. It's
your
not my
problem.
problem.
Not your circus.
Yeah. It's not my problem. And they're grown adults.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they're making their own decisions, and who they want to be and who they want to be going forward and what kind of partner they want to choose going forward. That's completely up to them.
Yeah, for sure.
But you can't be a Superman and you can't be a Superwoman. Because change is difficult. And if the other person does not want to change or heal, you can't do that for them. Yeah. So that was a huge lesson I learned for a very long time. My peace is what's important. Yeah. If your peace is disrupted, that's completely on you.
Yeah, that's I fall right into that same line. So for the 7 years, I was literally alone. Like I did not even talk to men. Like I didn't have anybody that I was like texting with, whatever. Like there was no distraction whatsoever. So I focused 100% inward. So during those 7 years, I did not have anybody that I, was going through this process with. But because I had just come out of an 8-month relationship prior to my sabbatical, but then also before that, a 22-year relationship with my ex-husband, that is what I think I felt like I needed to heal from, was all the stuff that I didn't go through. Take the time, because I was busy. I was a mom. I was a wife. I was everything to everybody else except to Yvette.
Mm-hmm.
So when I took those 7 years off, then I had to really focus on just me. And I would look at myself in the mirror, and I tell the girls all the time, when I turned 34 is when I had my aha moment. I had my awakening at 34, because I really realized who Yvette was and what Yvette wanted, and I started to then start the process again. It's a process. It's not a destination, right? We're not going anywhere. It's just daily life and working through things. But now I have a better relationship with my ex-husband because I know exactly who I am, because I have forgiven, haven't forgotten anything, nothing at all. And sometimes he still triggers me, just not as much as before. And now I'm able to have those conversations with him. Like, hey, you know what? And, anyway, so I talked to him. I was going to say his name, but I'm like, I don't need to say his name. Like, I talk to him now and I tell him. So I am able, though, to have those conversations with him. And because he's gone through his own process, or he's going through his own process of healing, then he can also have that open dialogue with me now too. I've only been back on the dating scene for a little over a year. And I can tell you that now, first of all, I haven't been in a relationship with any of them. It's just been dating. And to me, there's a difference. To me, there's a big difference from dating and being in a relationship. So I haven't actually been in an actual relationship. And the last person that I tried that with, we did have that open dialogue, and I gave a chance, and then did the same freaking exact same thing to me. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm sorry. That's it. And because I know what my boundaries are, and I'm firm on them. And it seems like I'm being a hard ass or something, but I'm not. I've just really, really grown into the woman that I know I am and have always been. But that boundary doesn't mean that I'm not open to compromise, because relationships are compromise. You have to give and take. I mean, that's what it is. But if you're constantly giving chances, like you're the one always communicating or texting or calling or being there for them, and they're always trauma dumping on you, then you're not in a relationship. Now you're just a doormat. You know what I mean? So I am very firm on my boundaries now. And I think that's why I haven't been in a relationship. So,
Which, to answer your question, what I was going to say is, I think there's a difference between you're healing, she's healing, and you guys are doing life together. And yeah, situations may arise, and then you guys talk about them, but she's healing, you're healing, and you're doing life together, rather than, like you said, we're healing together. That doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen. You have to heal, you have to work. Kind of like, she cannot go to the gym for you, right? You have to put in your work. You have to push yourself so your muscles can grow. Same thing emotionally. You cannot do that for her. She cannot do that for you. You guys can enjoy the benefits of it, but you guys are not going to be able to do it for each other. So
it's a very, very good analogy. I like it.
Yeah, it's profound too, because it's true. It's true. We are individuals, even though we're, as human beings, we're interconnected, on a soul level and energetically, we're interconnected. But we are still individuals, each one of us. And we have to go through our own healing process and our own karma, our own journey in life, our own path. So, yeah.
And I'll say one last thing to that, okay, which might be a little heavy. Here's the thing. I think there's a whole other level, which is when you're having sex, you guys are connected emotionally and spiritually as well. So when you're with somebody that is unhealed, that is constantly in trauma and is constantly in fire flat and it's not in peace, you're taking that energy in. Oh, yeah. And you're carrying that.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
and
yes, you are.
Yeah, and
yes, you are.
Yeah, and it's changing you
emotionally. It's an exchange.
Yeah.
It's an exchange in every kind of level.
Spicy. Spicy.
That's why when somebody's healed and you guys are feeling each other, it's like
That's what's
magical,
explosive. Yeah.
explosive.
That's why you see like fireworks and shit, because it's actually explosive like that. You're
Mhm.
meeting each other on a completely
So let's give an example.
Yeah.
Example.
What
Okay.
example?
If you're in the office, if you're in your office, right, and everyone around you is in a bad mood, what does that do to your mood?
Oh, not mine. No, but I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does change your mood.
It does.
Yeah.
It
It
does.
might not take you all the way down like everybody else, but
But
you
you're gonna be
feel
like,
it
fuck.
and you
Like,
start
there's-
getting stressed.
yeah.
You start feeling down.
Yeah.
You just want to
Yeah.
leave.
I'll give you a perfect example. I went on Friday to do my hair, and it's this Dominican salon, right? So I walk in, and I'm like, what's happening, right? So I tell my hair guy, dude, what's happening? Like, it feels tense. And he goes, dude, have you not heard about the what happened in Dominican Republic, that the roof fell and over 200 people have died? One of them was their nephew dressed in black. But the moment I walked in, I'm like, man, I could feel it. Even
The
though
heaviness.
they were not
Yeah.
talking about the situation. They were doing the thing, talking to their clients, like nothing.
Yeah.
But it felt tense.
Yeah.
Even if you don't realize it, it's weighing on you, you know?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep.
Mm-mm-mm.
Okay. Let's move on a little bit. And this is still kind of not heavy, but still kind of deep. One piece of advice that you would give your younger self, knowing everything you know now in your 30 years of life, what would you give yourself, your younger self?
When you feel emotion, when you have feelings, embrace them. There were often times that my dad, he would feel certain ways, but he would just, and you as well, you guys would feel certain ways and you would just bottle that shit up. I learned to do the same thing. So instead of dealing with things or understanding things for what they are, understanding that you're sad, instead of taking the sadness and just pushing it down, you understand why. You learn from why. Frustration, everything, you know. If people do things to you, just understand more of how your heart and your brain work than anything else. That is the advice that I'd give to myself. Yeah.
That's like, and I feel like it's probably like a very mentally advice. I think in general, men struggle. I mean, they're told not to cry, right?
Yeah.
We don't cry. We don't cry in baseball, right? Like, how many years have we heard that? Like, we've taught them not to.
Yeah.
So that's a good one.
Man up.
Man up.
Can't
That's
Yeah.
right.
stand
Always
that
the
word.
man up thing.
Man
but
up.
I would, I mean, still like, you know, man up, but to me, I feel like a man is more a man if they understand why they're going through things or why they feel certain things versus
Agreed.
just
That's
avoiding things.
Right.
You know, if you want to be a leader of the pack or you want to, you know, be the alpha type of thing, you should understand, one, why you're an alpha, but two, like everything that everyone else feel like, you know what I mean? Like just when you're frustrated and when you're sad and all these things, you understand that you are those things. And that's something that you can teach other people. Yeah, just learn from your mistakes and that sort of thing.
Okay, so right along those lines, what is one thing you wish you would have known sooner as a man?
Sorry, I was going to say, where the clit is at?
No, I started very early.
Okay, how early?
13.
Yeah.
I
Joe,
just turned 13.
No, I know.
you knew?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I just turned 13.
Yeah,
13.
How old is
Christian.
she?
What the heck?
she was 15.
Okay, 2 babies.
My son was with an older woman too. Yeah,
man.
older young lady.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So
15
you
or
were in middle
16.
school and she was in high school?
Yeah, I was just getting out of middle school. It was that summer, getting out of middle school into high school. So I was a freshman. She was a junior. I think, yeah. She ended the relationship while I was in middle school. We were dating. Yeah. And then she went to high school and she's like, "You're still in middle school." Like, ended shit. And then once I transitioned and I became taller and stuff, she
regretted it.
She was like, "Oh hey."
it was
She was like,
So, did she have a little bit of experience at that point? So did she teach you, or?
No, actually, we taught each other. To be honest, like I still took hers and she took mine, and we were so explorative, and we were around each other all the time. And when the parents are away, the kids shall play. So it was an everyday thing for like 3
So
No, I know nothing surprises
years.
me. So
We
it doesn't
learned
hurt.
a lot. We
It doesn't
Googled stuff.
hurt.
Like we.
I was at 13. Did you know to wrap it up? Like did you? I mean, let's.
Yeah. She threatened my life. She said, "Don't end up like me, and don't do."
But you were 13. So what age did you tell him that?
Look,
Before 13.
I told my son at fifth grade, sixth grade. That's when I started telling my son.
when he left to the
Every
Air
single time.
Force,
Yeah.
and we were cleaning out his room, there was boxes and boxes of empty Magnum condom boxes.
Way to
Magnum.
just.
Empty boxes. And all I kept doing was pulling out boxes, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Well, at least you know that your words resonated in his brain.
Right.
Thank
She
God.
kept saying, "Don't get anyone fucking pregnant." Like,
Look, both
Okay.
of my sons, thank you, Jesus. They broke that chain, and that was all I was worried about.
Good.
Is them
Being on
passing
TLC.
that.
13 and pregnant. Let's go.
Yeah, no. Ugh.
That's so funny.
Oh my
Ay,
goodness.
ay.
I'm mind blown.
There were so
13
many
and
boxes.
15.
I'm sorry.
It was awful.
Listen, I talked to my son. My son was a little bit older, but I talked to him. I started talking to him in 5th and 6th grade. Like
My son is about to be 10, so I feel like 13 is like so close.
no, you should already be having that conversation
Yeah.
with him.
What?
Yes, he's 10 years old. Yes.
The no spots and all
Oh, well,
that
I do
stuff.
talk about it. No,
What you
spots,
do.
and
But also
and
that.
private
Yeah,
parts.
puberty.
No, and don't talk to him like he's a little kid because he's not. Your son is super smart. He will
Yeah.
understand. You talk to him like tell him the things
He's
that
a
he needs to
genius.
know. He is living proof. And my
Yes.
son too. He always tells me, "Mom, I hear your voice in the back of my head constantly,"
Mm-hmm.
because I opened up that line of communication with my children. And so when he was 10, my oldest daughter, which is my middle child, my oldest daughter was 6. And so there she'd be like that too, like, what? Like, but I didn't hold back. I did not hold back
Wow.
because I was like, okay, you want to be involved in this conversation? You're going to listen. And, it was a little different for her, but
Yeah.
it was those conversations. Yeah.
Mhm.
10, 11,
Yeah.
12 years old.
They
Yeah.
resonate for sure.
Yeah.
They still do to this day.
I guess I need to start.
Yeah.
And casually, not
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
just casually bring it up in conversation. Like,
Yeah,
hey, what about
sometimes
these little
asking
girls?
questions.
And,
Well,
just,
he already asked because she sees the tampons, and then I'm not gonna lie, like a month and a half ago, I had like a total like womanhood like period time, and it was a Friday, and I did like an Uber delivery like at 11 o'clock at night with like ice cream, chocolate, like all these different things, and I'm like, son, I'm on my period, and like I know you know what that is, but girls get it every month, and today I want all of this. I'm like chips, chocolate, ice cream, and I'm like, I want it all. And then the other day he goes, when are you getting that thing again? And I'm like, what? And he goes,
so he
yeah.
can benefit.
Yes. He goes, I want that midnight order again.
I love it.
I love
so
Logan.
smart. He is so smart.
When is it happening? What? You said every month.
It's like probably marking a calendar in his room.
He's like, yes. He's like, Mom, be ready. It's coming.
This is my order on the 26th. So funny.
I could totally see him doing
Yes.
that.
Me
That is so cute. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. No, yeah, girl. You need to have those conversations with
Me
him.
too.
Like they need to start. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Shame.
Yeah.
Hello, it's Yvette here from Chats con Sabor.
I am interrupting this episode because we have decided to go ahead and split it up. We had such a great time chatting with Cristian, our special guest for this episode, that it went really, really long. And rather than have an over 2 hour episode, just, one single one, we decided to split it up and give your brains a little break. I promise you, we're not going to make you wait another week. Tune in on Wednesday and we'll drop the second half of this episode. We really hope that you're enjoying yourselves and enjoying watching and listening. And this time we have a little eye candy for you guys. Anyway, we will be dropping that episode, like I said, on Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. And thank you so much. I want to really extend our heartfelt gratitude and I'm speaking for the girls and myself. We are super, super appreciative and we love all the outpouring of support and love that we're receiving from our audience and our friends and family, everybody that's just out there helping us push this along. So if you're enjoying the podcast and you're enjoying this episode so far, half of it, please share with your friends and family. Help us get the word out about the podcast. We want to reach as many people as we can, obviously. And please, please, please leave us your comments. We really, really love hearing from you guys. When you leave us comments and join the conversation with us, it really helps us to feel like we're connecting with you guys. So please do so. Okay. Even if it's just to say, hey, love you guys, something like that. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Mwah. Remember, Wednesday, it'll come out Wednesday at 9 a.m. The next half of this episode will be released. Take care. Adios, amigos.